What are some of the worst food combinations you can possibly think of? Because I can literally name four off the top of my head that I personally consider food crimes because they are just so upsetting, like on a moral and ethical level. Like, it is concerning. But before we begin, I'm your host, Alex, and you're listening to the very second episode of Crime Genes, where we cover prospect crimes, crime cases, and mysteries. Though today's episode is a lot more lighthearted and a lot more humorous in comparison to other things we will cover, so bear that in mind as we go through this and we spiral together. So, going back to the food. I think I not I think I know I have a lot of issues with food, like personally. I'm a germaphobe, I have a vomit phobia, so just bear that in mind when I describe these food choices because they are scary. So, the first one that I have is Cheetos and milk. So, let me describe the picture I'm looking at because it's literally a Ziploc bag, whole milk, and regular Cheetos. I don't even know. I don't want to look at it anymore. But yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at, and I guess it's meant to be eaten like cereal, which why? Why would you do that? But yeah, that's the first one. The second one is literally just like a Pop Tart. I think it's a strawberry Pop Tart with a single slice of what I think is Kraft cheese, like American cheese. Yeah, that's making me sick. There's also this bowl of sliced bananas and what looks to be maybe a sardine. I don't know what this kind of fish is, but it's like a smaller fish with its head, like multiple heads there, and then just like tails and like their middle. I don't know. Again, it goes back to like the texture thing, the smell. Like, I'm really sensitive, just generally speaking, so to me these are scary foods. They are very, very scary foods. But I mean, if that's something you enjoy, I mean, by themselves some of these foods are okay, but together not so much. So like, if you like them like that, like, I'm not shitting on you. Like, you do you, babe. Like, literally, I have nothing against you. Like, I am the problem 100%. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. I want to know what others have seen or tasted because I just like fell down this hole with my friend Amber. So yeah, we want to know. We want to know what we should try in our YouTube video coming out soon. So let us know. So, what are we actually talking about? Because that was confusing at best, right? Well, unfortunately, we're not going to be talking about all of those like crazy food combinations. We're actually going to be talking about legit like food crimes in 2020. Yes, the year when COVID-19 hit us all and basically sent us into a lockdown. So, there was a lot that happened, like in terms of crime, which we will probably cover at different points during this season of the podcast. But today we're focusing primarily on like food theft. There's a lot that happened in the year of 2020 and after a little bit after that as well. And obviously there are appropriate reasons as to why that happened. There was people that lost their jobs. There was people who, I guess, ran out of necessities, and it was a really hard time for everyone. So we're not going to shit on that. Absolutely, like, never. We're not going to do that. But just a little I was going to say warm up. That doesn't even work. But I don't even know what I was trying to say. But regardless, that is a little synopsis of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be covering little cases, and we're just kind of reacting. So let me know what you think. So here's the thing about this episode. I had actually recorded this a while back, like a couple days ago, and I was starting to edit today, like February 9th, and the audio is just like not usable at all. I had a guest and she brought her mic and it was going really well. It was a really good episode. A lot of good chemistry, a lot of good reaction, and just such a good episode. But my audio from my mic, just for whatever reason, would not work. Meaning there was like static in the background. There was my voice that kind of sounded like I was across the room. There was like kind of like this echoey thing that was going on. It was just like really, really bad. So it basically was unusable. So I am now re-recording it. So just wanted to let you guys know, because that guest that I had, I will be bringing back ASAP whenever I can, because it was just so fun to record. And that's the thing about this podcast, is that I want it to feel like we're having a conversation, like you're here with us, with me. And with that said, I'm going to have some rotating guests joining me here and there. So just like a little FYI, because it was gonna be a surprise, but not anymore. So yeah, something to look forward to for sure. Anyway, let's get into this because this is pretty interesting and a little funny here and there. So let me know. I want to know what people think for sure. So this first one that we're starting with, and oh, before we begin, I'm using an article from Food and Wine, and it's titled "The Strangest Food Crimes of 2020." So everything I'm reading is like verbatim what they wrote in the article, and then I'm just gonna like give my input after. So a lot of the dates are confusing because, or they might be confusing because I'm not always gonna say 20, like February 2020, you know. So bear in mind, everything from here on out is 2020 specifically. So just remember that before I get into this and I accidentally do or don't say a date. So this first one is titled "Thief Busted for Stolen Cheese After Weeks Hiding Out in Grocery Store Rafters." Cheese is sometimes cited as the world's most stolen food. So in February of 2020, when the Auburn Police Department in Washington announced they had arrested a man for swiping a nearly $395 worth of Beecher's Wheel of Cheese from a grocery store. The theft alone wasn't necessarily national news, but here's the bizarre twist. According to the News Tribute, authorities believe the man had been hiding out in the rafters of the market for weeks, and cheese was just one of the many items he stole. He apparently also had an affinity for liquor and cigarettes. Interesting, no? Because cheese, like, if in case you didn't know, cheese and like wine are things that have a lot of value. Like, I don't even know how to, because I don't know that much about cheese or wine at the moment, but I do know that not only are they expensive, like they have a lot of value, like I said. So it makes sense why people would want to steal them, whether that's because they want to like recreate that, they want to taste it, or they want to sell it. Like it just makes sense in my head personally. But like also this guy was literally hiding in like the store. So like I have two questions. Was he just like waiting for the right moment? Like at what point did he start living there? And then like did he have the plot in mind before he started living in the store? Or did he just like decide like, hey, like I might as well, like I'm already here, you know, living here, like I'm gonna swipe some cheese, some cigs, and like some liquor. Like what? I don't know. I have a lot of questions. That's the thing about these. There are so many questions, so many theories out here. But I also just want to say, like, I mean, you have to know it's 2020. You're gonna get caught. So I guess he like just doesn't give a shit. So I mean, like, hats off to him. That's so fucked up to say. Anyway, the second one is titled "Thieves Tunnel in for $200,000 worth of fine wine." Going back to that, like, wine being one of those expensive things that are stolen. So, it goes, "Wine theft and fraud are relatively common. Just ask French authorities who recovered $6 million worth of stolen wine earlier in the month," which I'm assuming is January. I don't know what month it is, but that's how they're stating it. It says, "But back in February, a burglary in Copenhagen made headlines for some brazen thieves who reportedly broke into a wine shop adjacent to the Michelin star Formel B and then tunneled into their wine cellar to pick off about 50 to 60 of the restaurant's best wine bottles, approximately $200,000 in total. The culprits knew what they wanted. The less expensive bottles went untouched." This makes sense, right? Like, especially like, I'm assuming like they only had like a certain like carrying capacity, so obviously you're gonna aim for the ones that are more expensive, which is kind of funny because the way this is written is kind of like, whoa, like shocker, guys, like, oh my god, can you believe these thieves stole the most expensive wine bottles? I don't know, like I don't know, maybe that's just how I'm interpreting it, because like why would you take like the cheapy ones when you can make more off of the expensive ones? But then again, I don't know where I was going with that thought, but yeah, interesting. Nonetheless, they did it. I mean, they're not saying if they got caught, so like I'm assuming they got caught because they said thieves, meaning they probably know how many and they have the precise amount of money. Well, no, it doesn't say it was recovered. You know what? Maybe they did get away with it, all right? Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't get caught. But then like what do you do after with all of that? Because it isn't kind of sus that you're carrying around like hella expensive wine. You know what I mean? I don't know. Also, like tunnel, like they literally tunneled through. So like that was a lot of patience. Like they seriously thought about it, sat there and like planned it out, and they were like, yeah, this is the best fucking method. And maybe it was because it sounds like they got away with it. So I don't want to say hats off to them, but like I mean they thought about it. So like there's that. Okay, so this next one I have been thinking about ever since I read it because it's so fascinating because I just have so many questions and I'm pretty sure you and I are going to be on the same track because listen to this. This one is titled 3 Tons of Chickpeas Go Missing. We've all been there. The delivery company says your package has arrived, but it's nowhere to be found. Usually, it's just some junk from Amazon, but for Washington, D.C.'s Israeli food joint Little Sesame, the missing item was 6,150 pounds of chickpeas. The restaurant explains that on February 24th, 2020, UPS tracking listed the beans as out for delivery, but they never arrived, leading Little Sesame to publicly search for the 3 tons of beans' whereabouts, grabbing national headlines in the process. Oddly enough, despite no leads, Little Sesame confirmed that unexpectedly all of the chickpeas eventually did arrive a couple weeks later. Quote, no questions asked and none answered. Yeah, I don't even know what to make of this because, first of all, why? Like, okay, I guess 2020, but like chickpeas, like 3 tons of chickpeas though, I don't know. I mean, I like chickpeas, a lot. I would say pretty good amount of them. But also, like, how do you have like the means to like steal it? Like, I'm not necessarily talking about motive. Like, I think the motive is the least important part, at least for this. Just because I want to know, like, how and like where do you put all of these? And then 3 weeks later, they remained untouched and they were all delivered like perfect, and I'm assuming perfect condition because like whoa, I mean, I personally wouldn't trust these chickpeas because like I mean, I don't trust people in general, especially food, like I said earlier, but like I don't even know. First of all, I already said first of all, it's just, my brain is just like racking these up like freaking, I don't know, like slots. But yeah, like where did you put all of them? Where do you put 3 tons of chickpeas? Like, did you put them in a truck? Like, I want to know. I also want to know how the delivery would have been made. Does that mean they were like, how on Amazon they just put everything like in a bag? Well, obviously they're not going to do that for every single chickpea, but like, were they like in a really big, or were they in big boxes? How were they delivered? Or were they expecting like a delivery truck, perhaps? Like, well, no, because UPS was involved. But still, that's like a lot. And like, how did nobody notice that someone was stealing 3 tons of chickpeas? Because, I mean, again, I'm assuming that UPS is not at fault for this tracking thing. But, like, damn. That's kind of scary. 3 tons. Like, that has to be expensive, for this little restaurant. So, like, whoa. But, I mean, I think my best theory at the moment is that whoever stole it probably like was in desperate need of food. Maybe they didn't necessarily think about what the food was, because desperate times comes with desperate measures. But then when they got them, they were probably confused by how many freaking chickpeas they had ordered. Maybe they thought they were getting like a full stock of like everything, like random ingredients. So then they got stuck with these not 3 chickpeas, but like 3 tons of chickpeas. And then they saw the headlines and they were like, oh shit, like we gotta deliver them, because I feel kind of bad. I think that's what the intention was. I think the intention was to get more food than what the chickpeas were worth. So maybe that's why they were stolen. But it's also interesting that they gave them back, Like they didn't sell them or anything. They gave them back in what I'm assuming is perfect condition, But still, like there's not like all the questions we have are never going to be answered unless someone like confesses on Reddit that they stole 3 tons of chickpeas, which I might look later. Because, like, whoa, fascinating, is it not? And also, like, imagine, like, you just see your neighbor, like, pulling up with, like, a truck, or not, like, a truck, but, like, a car full of, like, chickpeas. Like, what would you even, like, how do you, when, I don't know. But I think this one's like probably my favorite one because endless explanations, endless questions, you know? Conspiracy theories up here. This next one is titled Axe Wielding Man Boxes His Own Voodoo Donuts. I personally haven't had voodoo donuts yet, despite going to Universal like a pretty decent amount of times, you know, because they have voodoo donuts like on City Walk. So maybe I'll do that on the weekend when I go. Maybe not. I don't know. So I don't really know the hype, but I hear they're good. Are they? I guess we'll find out soon. So, story goes Oregon based Voodoo Donuts is known as a cult favorite donut joint nationwide. But back in March, one fan went a bit too far to fulfill his craving. According to Eater Portland, a man brandished a hatchet at about 3:40 a.m. at the brand's Old Town location, then hopped over the counter and began filling a pink donut box himself. Police reportedly caught up with the suspect about a block away where he was, yes, eating a donut. Honestly, that's kind of a slay. In like the most stupid way. Like, I don't know, this genuinely reminds me of the shopping cart theory, you know, where it's like if you're the type of person to put away your shopping cart where it belongs as opposed to kind of just leaving it anywhere in the lot, you are more inclined to being like, I put quotation marks around like a better person in society, you know, more morally apt, I guess, as opposed to like not doing it because like you don't give a shit about anyone. So it's like, it's mainly, it talks about inconvenience to the people who work. What do they call it? Shopping cart technicians? Is that what they're called? I don't know. Yeah. I think that, I don't know why, but I just like made that connection right now because, like, first of all, we don't know why he had a hatchet or an axe. You know, we don't know what he was doing, but he like got gloves, got the box, and like put them in, you know, because I'm assuming he put them in neatly, like not just like randomly, you know. But then again, he did steal it. He didn't pay for it. He broke into the place. But like, what is it? You're not you when you're hungry. Maybe it was that kind of situation. Maybe he was like really fucking hungry. I don't know. And also, like, what kind of charge is that? You know, like obviously like trespassing and theft. But like, I kind of want to see like, I don't know, like how much was he charged for, or did he actually have to serve for stealing a donut? You know what I mean? Because if you just say, oh, he stole it, or like not really emphasizing what it was, it sounds crazy. But like, because it was donuts, there's like how do you, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. But I think it's interesting, you know, maybe he's not the worst. He's definitely not the worst criminal we'll ever cover on this freaking channel, podcast. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I wonder what donut he was eating. Like, was it like a basic one, or was it like one of the funky looking ones, you know? Like, I think that's important information. Or is it? Yeah. I think that one's a funny one. I don't know. Crime's not funny though. Okay, so this next one is titled Man Drives Off with an Entire Truck of Jack Daniels. So it's one of those where like liquor is expensive, you know, so like I think it makes sense why people steal it so that they can resell it. Unless you really love Jack Daniels that much that you would steal a truckload. But then do you ever get bored of the taste? I don't know. I don't really drink Jack Daniels. I don't know why I said just Jack. Like, I don't know. But yeah, quote, robbing a liquor store is about as cliche as crimes get. So one ambitious thief decided to rob the middleman. On March 28th, 2020, an entire trailer of Jack Daniels whiskey was driven out in Atlanta facility. But one problem. No one was sure who the driver was. The truck was found a couple days later, and unsurprisingly, the majority of the cargo was gone. Can you, like, imagine that? Like, being shocked that someone stole a truck full of Jack Daniels, and then you're like, oh my fucking god. Guess fucking what, guys? They stole it. Like, they stole the truck. And, like, look at this. They fucking stole the liquor, too. Oh my god. Crazy. Like, I don't know. It's just how I imagine how it went down. Like, I don't know. Why would you be shocked? Like, it's expected. Like, what? I don't know. Um, yeah, I wonder like what they did to like pull that off because not only are like people working at the facility, there's like obviously I don't know. Maybe it's not that obvious. Maybe it's like a worker or maybe someone that was like fired or something that knew the ins and outs. I'm assuming because they never got caught. So again, I want to say hats off, but like that's like it sounds like I'm encouraging it. Like don't steal, guys. Don't do it. I'm just gonna shut up. I'm like not gonna say anything. But yeah, he got away with it. I wonder if he sold it. You know, how much did he up the price? Did he lower the price? Did he keep it for himself? Is he obsessed with Jack Daniels and now he has like liver disease or kidney disease or something? Kidney failure? I don't know. So many questions, so little answers. As I said before, food theft was not that uncommon during 2020, and I think just in general it's not that uncommon, but food trucks in particular, there was a lot of theft that occurred. Apparently, like I wasn't aware of this, and I'm not talking about like a food truck, like a delivery truck, like literally like a food truck, like the tacos, like what's I can't even think of one right now, but yeah, that's what we're looking at. So, as the COVID-19 pandemic has forced much of the nation to turn to takeout in order, or it says outdoor dining, food trucks have been there to help fill the void. Takeout and outdoor are two of the things these mobile restaurants do best. While stealing a food truck seems especially cruel in 2020, it still happens. From a truck stolen in San Francisco in June 2020 to one stolen in Tampa earlier in the month, whenever this was published, food truck thefts have felt upsettingly common at a time when we need these mobile vendors the most. So, yeah. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's ballsy, too. Like, to steal a food truck. But also, like, is anyone really going to question, like, the driver? Because it's like, oh, like, I mean, I would assume that they own it. So I wouldn't really question it like that. But then maybe later in the day, if, like, once I learn that it was stolen, like, maybe I might recognize the person. I don't know. I don't know. I just like wonder like and like then you park it somewhere, right? And it's like during the panorama, so like do you just like park it outside of your house even though they're looking for it? Do you park it in an empty park? But then again, it's like empty, so like it's kind of obvious. Like where do you put it? Is basically what I'm asking. Where do you put the missing truck? Because like with so many cameras too out here, like what? Kind of concerning, but like maybe just for times, just for measures, right? But I don't know, maybe just maybe they like stole it thinking like, oh, there's like a bunch of ingredients and then we can like use it for food, but then it can only last you for so long or for that day, depending on when they stole it. So at the time they stole it, I should say. So I don't know. I'm like just like assuming like best case scenario, but then again, is best case scenario really like the effect of what capitalism and then like the rise of prices and like the housing and like COVID? Is that really the best case scenario? No, it's not. But I guess I don't know. I'm just like trying to fucking figure out what happened. All right, my brain does that. Your brain probably does that too. So yeah, I really do wonder what the thought process is behind it. But I mean, it is what it is. Okay, so next one. Thieves impersonate trucking company to steal nearly $300,000 in pistachios. In August 2020, or I think it's 2019, authorities in California busted an attempt to steal and what the fuck? I like develop an accent randomly. In attempt to steal and resell nearly $300,000 worth of pistachios. The scheme was surprisingly elaborate, with the thieves first stealing the identity of a legitimate trucking company before driving the pistachios to an abandoned property to remove them from their packaging. But one major snag: the trailers used were equipped with GPSs and a suspect was quickly found. So moral of the story, check if you're gonna steal something, check if there's a GPS if you have time. I don't know. I would assume that that's like just like something like if you're gonna do that, like think of it, because we have so much technology, like tracking technology and cameras, that it's kind of surprising that people don't check for those things. not that I'm encouraging you like how to get away with it or anything like that. Like you're still gonna most likely get caught. So like I don't know. I'm just curious about what the thought process is, because it says it was surprisingly elaborate. But like to what point, you know? Because I guess they were smart enough to get like a legitimate trucking company's like identity, but like I guess they didn't really think about everything else. Makes me wonder. Maybe it was like an older person, who doesn't really understand like GPS and like cameras. Maybe. Damn, does that sound kind of ageist? I didn't really mean for it to sound kind of ageist, but like I apologize if it did. But yeah, pistachios. There's loot in pistachios. But I mean, pistachios are expensive though, right? Because like I remember there was this little tiny ass bag one time at like, what was it? I don't know, one of them organic stores, not Trader Joe's though. But it was like a $20 for like a handful of pistachios. Like what? That's freaking crazy. But I'm assuming it's for money because I can't imagine someone eating $300,000. Well, they didn't specify how much pistachios was in the car or the truck, so I don't know. To each their own. What do we think? This next one is about wine. And again, going back to the whole wine is expensive, wine has value, that type of deal. So, in October, I think this is French, I'm assuming the Coteau. I don't have the accent for it. Rogemont vineyard in Quebec had over 1,000 pounds of grapes stolen right off the vines before the producer was able to harvest them. Quote, it's probably somebody that wanted to make wine in his garage or basement. Owner Michael Robert was quoted as saying. He added on Facebook, quote, specifically to the locals, if someone offers you a good white wine made locally but they don't have any grapevines, you know where it came from, end quote. That kind of sounds like a threat. Like, is it Michelle or Mike? Oh, I said Michael, bro. Oh my god. It might be Michelle. I am so sorry. We're just gonna say M. Robert. Yeah, that sounds like a threat from M. Robert because, whoa. It's kind of been like, it kind of gives the energy of when Lana Del Rey told Azealia Banks, like, pull up at the Addy, you know where it's at. Like, that kind of vibe. For some reason, am I just delusional? Like, someone knows what I'm talking about. I don't know. That's the vibe I'm kind of getting. But, like, it's true, though. If someone pays enough attention for that. But, like, I feel like if you stole wine, why would you offer it to someone? Unless, I guess, bragging rights. But, like, I mean, okay, I'm just, like, I'm saying it as if, like, there aren't, like, stupid people that make stupid decisions, But there are some. So I don't know why I'm like, I don't know. Just because it's something I wouldn't do doesn't mean someone else won't do. Jeez. Again, I do not know why. I mean, the assumption as like the what's their title? The owner, producer. Yeah, that they're gonna make wine for themselves is the assumption, which I guess I would assume the same because how would you, unless the person who stole it owns like a winery or something and they're like trying to replicate what M. Robert has created, possibly, I don't know. There's two possibilities. Those are my top two theories. Either someone really, really wanted wine and they decided to steal it and make it for themselves, like kind of selfishly, or they wanted to like recreate it or something. I don't know. Both not great motives. So yeah, I don't know what else to say because like anything I say that sounds remotely positive, it almost sounds like I'm encouraging it, but like I'm not encouraging anyone to steal, especially like stuff like this. No. And also, like, that's like a lot of work. Why would you do that? Unless you're like actively trying to get caught, like, okay, go you, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, this next one, we're talking about pizza. And it's titled, Robbing a Pizzeria, Burglar Takes a Break to Make a Pie. You never know when hunger will strike, though maybe it's best to grab a bite after robbery. In November 2019, the Orange County Register reported that a thief decided to make himself a pizza. Even going through the trouble of putting on gloves in between stealing money out of the register at Big Slice Pizza in Fullerton, California, He then reportedly decided to flee in style, driving off in the restaurant's delivery car. Police say he was arrested 3 days later. Again, shopping cart theory. Then again, he did like steal money, that they worked for. So like, that is kind of fucked up. But maybe he's a germaphobe and doesn't want to transfer over. Maybe he has a little bit of morals, guys. Maybe he's maybe he's okay. I'm kidding, completely kidding. But like, it's kind of, I don't know. It kind of has the vibe of like a villain, But like, I don't even know what I'm trying to go with this. I'm gonna stop myself before I spiral. But yeah, isn't that interesting? Like, he put on the gloves and everything, and then he made himself a pizza. At the end of the day, he did steal, like, well, it would be trespassing, breaking in, stealing money, and then whatever for ingredients with pizza, and then he stole the car too. So, like, yeah, very criminal. All right, we're on our very last story slash case, and this one involves stealing fresh pasta. According to Brooklyn's Borsalia, La Rosalia restaurant, thieves broke in on Christmas Eve and stole about 10 to 15 pounds of fresh pasta, passing up more valuable items such as booze, wine, and iPad. It says or speakers. What does that even mean? Or speakers. It could have been worse, quote. Manager Cristiano Rossi told the NY Post. They didn't, quote, break anything. There wasn't a lot of damage, just the pasta, end quote. Let's talk about the speakers. What do you mean, or speakers? Like, do you not know that they stole the speakers? I think it would be pretty obvious if you did or didn't. I'm questioning this article. I think it's like not the best written article, It's confusing at best. But damn, they stole pasta, like fresh pasta. Either it's really, really good, or again, desperate times call for desperate measures. We don't really know. And I'm assuming they got away with it because there's like no mention of police being involved or them getting caught or returning any of the things that were stolen. I mean, I guess you can't really return. Well, I guess you could return like the feces, the excrements of the pasta, but like, that's not the point. 10 to 15 pounds though of pasta. What does that even look like? And how did they do it? Did they just steal like a pot of it? Did they like carefully like put them into Tupperware? I don't know. I'm trying to visualize this genuinely. But I mean, they kind of girl bossed it because they also stole some booze, some wine, and an iPad, and apparently maybe speakers because we apparently don't know. So yeah, they did that, and they got food. So they girl bossed it, and they really did that. I just kind of wonder though, like, how did this happen? It says on Christmas Eve. So, and also I don't even know where to go with this. Like, okay, assuming that there was nobody there on Christmas Eve, they just had like 15 pounds of pasta like readily available, or did they steal like 15 pounds of uncooked pasta? Do you know what I mean? Like, what? I need more specifications. I need more context. And also, like, nobody saw, like, I guess it is Christmas Eve, and there's like people with their families and they're at home or whatever, but like cameras, where they at? Where is the evidence? Donde? Como? I don't know. I want to know more about these, genuinely. I'm so curious as to like these minute details because I think they really make the story. And also like the motive, because to me, I'm just kind of assuming like people are in positions where they need to, they get to this point where they don't have any other choice but to steal, but that's just like my own assessment of what 2020 was like, but I don't know. So yeah, I think these articles need more info, to be honest, because I'm like dying over here trying to put the pieces together that are barely holding on to any structure at all. So, like, ¿qué pasó? Yo no sé. So, yeah, that's our last case slash story, and I would love to hear what you guys think because I am bamboozled, I'm confused, I'm conflicted, I am over the edge. I just like want to know more. Genuinely so interested, so invested, especially on the chickpea one. Like I think that's the one that like doesn't let me sleep because I just like want to know more, you know. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking around. Tell me your thoughts, any questions, anything. I want to know it all. I'm going to try to link this article in the description wherever it is at because the website isn't out yet. So keep that in mind. And yeah, thank you for listening. You know, stay safe out there. It's really crazy. I'll see you later. Peace.